Welcome to Four Quarter Lives, a podcast exploring the profound impact of longer lives and careers on everything: countries, companies, couples, and careers. I'm Aviva Wittenberg-Cox, and this week I'm just doing a summary of Season 8, which came in sort of two acts. The first act looked at how smart older women are working hard on understanding and strengthening the next generation, and also starting to explore the new roles that older women are taking on in Q3. The second act of Season 8 featured some of the change agents waking the world up to this new era of longevity and what I call generational balance in a myriad of ways, media, and channels. Let me start with Act 1, what older women now know. That culture, socialization, media, and gender roles all shape what we can and can't do with our lives. These Q3 women are working to redefine the stories we hear and tell, and share it with the next generation. Niobe Way, a developmental psychologist and NYU professor, talked about culture and how our kids suffer if we disconnect. She shared her 30 years of research on boys, friendship, and the emotional repression imposed by traditional masculinity and capitalism. As she says, we live in a culture that privileges thinking over feeling. Any culture that does that is going to be deeply screwed up. Anuradha Dasmatur is the founder of the Vedic Scholars Program. She and I talked about socialization, particularly in India, and how she's fighting tradition with education by creating an MBA program specifically for young women. She says dignity and dependence don't go hand in hand. If you want dignity, you need independence, and independence requires financial freedom. She's ensuring that some of India's young women can claim it. Katja Meyer is an award-winning screenwriter. She's trying to get the media world to feature older women. She wrote a script featuring a 59-year-old woman, and the producers wanted her to shave 20 years off her leading lady. As women, we've learned to figure things out, she comments, whether it's navigating careers, family, or life's challenges. The world may doubt us, but we know what we're doing. And finally, Terry Apter's latest book, Grandparenting, explores the fascinating complexity of modern parenting and grandparenting, and how aging Q3 feminists are redefining all the scripts. We thought we'd finish the feminist fight, she says, and then we became grandmothers. Suddenly, we're back to renegotiating what's selfish, what's selfless, and what's ours. Each of these four women is working across generational lines, using knowledge, empathy, and strategy to help younger people thrive, while also claiming space for their own evolving roles in later life. Act 2, the second part of Season 8, was waking the world up. And the second half of the season looked outward to the structural and business awakening needed around the longevity issue. These guests are pioneering new ways to educate, communicate, and convene around one of the biggest shifts of our time, the reality that we're living longer and need new systems to match and keep up with us. It takes a village. It also takes education, movies, conferences, new businesses, and thought leaders. And that's who I featured. Celine Abicassi Moedas is a pro-rector at Católica Lisbon School of Business and Economics. She and I co-designed a longevity leadership program to educate leaders and corporate executives on the demographic revolution and its consequences for their companies, consumers, and workforces. Ruben Figueras made a movie, Longevity Hackers, a wonderfully global overview of the people and debates swirling around making us live both longer and healthier. As he says, 90% of what we can do for longevity has nothing to do with expensive treatments. It's about lifestyle. Diet, exercise, sleep, and mindset are the key. The best part, he says, these things are available to everyone, not just the wealthy. Michael and Nancy Hoden created a global conference, the International Longevity Summit, to bring together global leaders, policymakers, and thinkers to elevate longevity as the defining issue of our era. We're living longer than ever before, but our systems weren't built for it, they say. Businesses and governments need to rethink everything, from healthcare to workforce strategies, to truly capitalize on the longevity economy. That's something that Brian Clark knows well. He's a role model and teacher of Q3 entrepreneurship. He founded Copyblogger and writes a wonderful Substack called Further. He's using the power of content to tell richer, more resonant stories of midlife and beyond. As he says, the longevity economy is the biggest market opportunity and the biggest societal problem you could tackle right now. And yet businesses are still sleeping on it. Next, we went to Deborah Whitman, who's the head of thought leadership at AARP and author of a new book called The Next 50. Her book and AARP research are challenging outdated perceptions of aging and urging institutions to reimagine how we live, work, and contribute across our longer lives. Aging, she reminds us, isn't just an extension of the first half of life. It's an entirely new chapter. We need to reframe it, rethink it, and embrace it. And James Haggerty, who writes the Wall Street Journal's obituary column and has done over 800 of them, recommends that we all control our own written legacies by writing down our life stories early rather than letting other people write them for us after we're gone. Most people, he says, don't think their early life is worth sharing, but that's where the real story begins. How and why you became who you are. So maybe it's all time for us to write our own stories and own them. These change agents are loud, clear, and future-focused. They're not just adapting to longer lives. They're designing for them. They're an inspiring group of role models. I hope you enjoy listening, revisiting, and sharing their wisdom. Season 8 was a reminder that longevity is a lens, one that lets us see both the potential of our later decades and the urgent need to rethink how we live together across time. If you've missed any of the episodes, they're all readily available on a phone near you on whatever podcast platform you prefer. And if you know someone who's shaping the future of longer lives and careers or living it in a way the world needs to hear, let me know. Season 9's almost finished, but we're already hard at work planning Season 10. Thanks for listening, and here's to your 4-quarter life. For more thinking about the impact of our 4-quarter lives, you can read my column at Forbes and subscribe to my Elderberries newsletter on Substack. Let's design lives that aren't just longer, but better.